Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it. Love the Halloween vibes around here. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft. You with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how we doing? One better than the other.
The shame, the embarrassment, the utter humiliation, the Halloween horror you had to sit through last night. I am so surprised you even showed up today. I congratulate you. I am proud of you for even sitting in that seat on national TV after what you had to endure last night.
My only saving grace, GOAT didn't play. That's the only reason we lost that game. You know we wouldn't have lost that game if GOAT had been there.
My question is, why didn't GOAT play?
You know, hey.
That's a better question.
We had two superstars. We got to beat a winless team.
Yeah,
you know that.
Oh, yes. So it was kind of a tough night for the Lakers, but Shannon makes a good point. In their second straight game without LeBron, the Lakers were up by 26, but still fell 123 to 115 to the Thunder. Russell Westbrook had a 20-point triple-double, but also had 10 turnovers contributing to the loss. 10 turnovers. Shannon, how did the Lakers blow a 26-point lead?
Well, I was tweeting this in real time, Skip. They stopped playing defense. They started jacking up shots, and they started turning the ball over. And that is a recipe for a loss. You know, Skip, they say a man's flaws are interwoven into the traits that make him great. If you look at Russell Westbrook and we look at the traits that make him great, I can tell you every last one of his flaws. You see, what happened was, Skip, is that all of a sudden, you know, things are going well. They're running the offense. They're going through AD. They're getting wide open looks. Everybody's playing. And then all of a sudden, man, you know what? Held a team to 19 points in the first quarter. They're like, man, we good. And then they give up 37 in the second quarter. And then they come out in the third quarter and say, you know what? I know we can do worse than that. I know we can give up more than 37 in a quarter. And what they do, they give up 41. So in the span of the second and third quarters, they give up 78 total points.
They did.
Really? Again, got out-rebounded. How does a team with Anthony Davis, with DeAndre Jordan, with Dwight Howard get out-rebounded by a team? They can't have anybody over 6'10". And they got out-rebounded. It's only 2, but it's the mere fact that you're getting out-rebounded by much smaller teams. Skip, look, Russ is who he is. This is what you mean. They keep saying, we need Russ to be Russ. You will never win with Russ being Russ. There's a reason why he has not won since Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant said, you know what? I'm loading my truck up and I'm not moving to the Bay.
Thank you.
So stop this. Stop saying we need Russ to be Russ, because you saw Russ being Russ last night and you saw what he got you, a quadruple double, but in the worst way.
In the worst way.
10 turnovers?
10 more turnovers.
And here's the thing. Had LeBron been there, I don't believe they lose this game, because LeBron takes the ball out of his hand. Because Russ is stubborn. He doesn't understand. I don't like his basketball IQ. He sees the momentum changing, and what does he do? He'll come jack up a 3. He sees the momentum changing. He'll still go 1-on-4. He sees the momentum changing. He's trying to throw a lob from half court. Bruh, can you understand that the momentum is changing? They're gaining momentum. You do not need to attempt these ill-advised shots. But he can't help himself. This is who he is. At some point in time, Skip, we are what we repeatedly do.
That is
what
correct.
has he repeatedly done over the last 8 years? Be first or second in turnovers. That's what he's done. So therefore, it is not an accident. It is not a singular act. It is a habit. That's who he is.
Thank you.
So until
what I have been saying for years and years. Go ahead.
Until LeBron realizes that you're not going to win, you're not going to go nearly as far as you want to be. If he's your primary decision maker, because he makes the worst decision.
Correct.
Now, everybody was on.
Thank you.
Just yesterday, they were blowing up. I told you, look at Russ. When LeBron get back, I'm saying he can't play like this with LeBron. And what did he do? He jacks up to it. Skip, he is he's an inefficient, ball-dominant, high turnover player.
Thank you.
Let me repeat. Inefficient, ball-dominant, high turnover. And when you say, well, Shannon, inefficient, he scored 20 points. Yeah, but it took him 20 shots. Oh, he had 14 turnovers. Offense. He had 10 turnovers. There is the inefficiency.
Yep.
There is the ball domination. Hey, but they believe they can do it. They believe they can do it. I am unconvinced.
Likewise, but I dug in on this before the season started. This is who he is and who he has always been. And what hit home the hardest to me was I kept my TV on for the Laker postgame on our local here in L.A. Sports Spectrum, featuring the great James Worthy. And he was racking his brain and finally concluded that it was the ugliest loss in Lakers history, given the fact, obviously, this Laker team is the consensus pick to win the West.
Right.
And given the fact that going into last night, everybody would have ranked the Oklahoma City Thunder, the seriously baby Thunder, as the worst team in all. They were winless, but they're the worst team in pro basketball because they are starting at shooting guard. Josh Giddey, who they took 6th overall, he's 19 years old from Australia, and he was the one who threw it to Carmelo late in the game, just threw it right to him, and Melo was like, I can't get a hold of the ball, and I'll shoot an air ball that fell 3 feet short of the rim. And they start Darius Baisley, who's 21 years old, and Shai Gilgeous, who's a pretty good player and has proven to be pretty good, but he's 23, and Dort's 22, and Isaiah Roby came off the bench and did pretty well last night, and he's 23. They're just a bunch of children.
Yes.
And you allowed them to come back from 26 points down, and the great painful irony was Russell Westbrook went back home to Oklahoma City, where it all started for him, and where I told you that a source very close to Kevin Durant told me that the reason Kevin decided I can't do this anymore, I've got to join forces with the team that we had down 3-1 in the conference finals, the Golden State Dynasty Warriors. I've got to go there because I cannot win a championship going into year 10 with that man as my primary decision maker, because Russ dribbled the ball up the floor for those Thunder, and it was Russ's choice. Am I going to do it, or maybe let you try to do it this time? And finally, Kevin couldn't take it anymore and said no. So last night, the irony was Russ goes back the conquering hero. I finally arrived. My dream came true. I am now the point guard, the next Magic Johnson for the Los Angeles Lakers. I grew up living and dying for in Los Angeles. It's my team. We don't even have LeBron tonight, so watch this. And what did he do? Yet again, another triple-double, except it turned into a quadruple, as you point out, with 10 turnovers. So he had 10 assists by halftime. That's, as Vogel pointed out after the game, that's extraordinary. It's hard to get 10 assists in a half. But then in the second half, he had only, 3 assists of 6 more turnovers. Well, that won't work, and that's why you lost a 26-point lead. So to your point, what I've always said about Russell Westbrook is his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. His greatest strength is he plays harder than anybody on the offensive end of the floor. And his greatest weakness is he plays so hard he plays completely out of control.
I agree.
And he has, over the last 5 years, gotten a triple-double pass for all the poor passes, the awful passes he throws, because he's averaging triple-doubles. And he's almost doing it again for your Lakers. He's now up to 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. It's almost he's doing it again. For the last 5 years, he has averaged inconceivably a triple-double. And where has it gotten his teams that he played for? Nowhere. Because it's a solo act, stat machine. You can't take your eyes off it, but you can't trust it if you're talking about winning, right? Because
especially down the stretch, Skip.
You can't
because he was Skip. Even as the game got closer, he tried harder and harder
to will.
Skip will. I get the will. Oh, he willed that shot in. You can't.
And to your point, I've always said this. This is the damnedest thing about Russell Westbrook. He's a point guard who has a lousy feel for the game of basketball, but he is a cinch, slam dunk, first ballot Hall of Famer. A point guard who doesn't have much feel for the game is going to be a slam dunk first ballot? How do you explain it? It's because he plays so hard. everything that he gains in stats, they're all hustle stats, right?
Yes.
He scores by hustle. He rebounds. He really rebounds by hustle. He gets his assists by just going into 1,000-mile-an-hour attack mode to where he's playing so fast. Sometimes people come open, and sometimes he leaves it for them, and they dunk it, right?
Right.
Okay, so all of that works, but in the end, he has absolutely no conscience. He doesn't have the conscience every other point guard in the world has, because after the game he said, okay, I'll take the blame for this. You know, I've got to be more careful with the ball. I got to protect the basketball. But he doesn't believe it.
Exactly.
You don't see it manifest itself. The next game he'll go out there saying, I'm almost averaging a triple-double. Watch this. I just had a triple-double, right?
Skip, the thing is what LeBron, when we talk about in Magic and all the great point guards, they understood, okay, they're gaining momentum. Let's slow the pace down. Let's make sure we get a good shot. That's not how he thinks. Oh, they're trying to come back. Let's go right back at him. And then guess what? He loses the ball out of bounds. And so what was an 8-point lead that could have gone to 10 or 11, now all of a sudden you lose the ball out of bounds. Now they got a chance to come back down the other way to cut it to 6 or to 5.
Yep.
Bro, I'm like, come on, Russ. I mean, really? Do you not see the game? Maybe he's feeling or thinking it's a different game than what I'm watching, because I could have swore at one point in time, Skip, and I tweeted, I said, here's the thing. A game that should be up, you should be up by 30, you're down at 16 and a half. I say now, the turnovers have has increased. The defense has decreased. Equals loss. Now, don't worry about it. Oh, we got this. We're going to be all right. You ain't got this. Because that guy right there, the way he plays, I don't care if you put Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. If you allow him to play like that, you will lose. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, you name any great, could not overcome a guy that turns the ball over like this. Because you know why, Skip? In the most inopportune times, the one thing you need to value is the ball. It's just like a quarterback, Skip. If a quarterback is turnover prone, he can go the whole game. It's just, Tony Romo, it's when you least expect it. You can ill afford to have him turn the ball over. What would he do in the most crucial time?
What was the difference in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from last year to the year before? Jameis.
Turnovers.
Jameis has talent. He was the first pick in the draft for a reason. I like Jameis, but I don't like that part because he's got a lot of Westbrook in him.
Threw for 5,000, 33 touchdowns, but he had 30 turnovers. And the most inopportune.
And he had 5 fumbles lost on top of 30 interceptions.
Correct.
So 35 turnovers. You can't win that way, so they went 7 and 9.
Thank you.
Well, I hate to say it, but if we step back for a moment, if Ja Morant makes his 3rd free throw, or if my Spurs don't go 0 for 7 from the free throw line in the 4th quarter, you could be looking at 0 for 5 as a team. And a lot of it swirls around Westbrook in the turnovers. So to your point, some more stats for you. Lakers history. They have now allowed 115-plus points for their first 5 games. That's a first in franchise history. So again, they're not even playing defense to undercut some of the turnover offense, right? Okay, so that works. And over the last 25 years in Lakers' legendary history.
I saw this stat.
Yeah, with a lead of 25 or more points, they were 250-0.
Including the playoffs.
250-0, and all of a sudden you chalk up a big L because of Westbrook going completely out of control, crazy. Since 1985, quadruple doubles registered, where you go, obviously, double figures across the board, including the turnover stat. Quadruple doubles. Russ has 6. The next on the list is James Harden with 3. Well, he's that guy.
Yes.
Because he's led, what did I tell you going into the season? He's led the league in turnovers 4 times. He's been second 4 times. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He's already leading the league in turnovers now with 30. And in player efficiency rating, which I'm going to rename for him player inefficiency rating, he has plummeted all the way to 181st in the NBA. This is the new starting point guard for your Los Angeles Lakers. Magic Johnson's team, LeBron James' team, he's the flip side of LeBron. He is a terrible passer with a low basketball IQ, and LeBron is the best passer in basketball with the highest IQ in basketball. This is the flip side, and LeBron has blessed him by handing him the keys to the kingdom. You try point guard. I just don't think that's going to last much longer, and once you take him off the ball, where do you put him to keep him out of harm's way? I don't know, because he is Russell Westbrook, and I'm going to say it again. What is he now? He's 4 of 23 from 3. 4 of 23. That's 17%.
Did you see last night?
Oh,
they swung the ball to him, and he just, without hesitation. Nah, bro, no. Go inside and maybe shoot a 2. Okay. It's okay to run up the 3-point line. You're not that.
Okay. So for those who didn't get to see this game, who didn't have the privilege of seeing this game, could we just display the magnitude of the 10 turnovers by running through them quickly? This is Russell Westbrook on display last night, turning the basketball.
What was that?
That's just crazy. It's just wrong.
Look at this.
It's just bad idea.
That's not even close. Look at this. Look at this one.
Lord have mercy. A lot of players get yanked for that. A lot of players just get pulled for that one. What are you doing?
Look at this.
What is that? That's how you blow a 26-point lead, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't think that was a turnover there because I didn't think he stepped back court.
Okay. Bad idea. I
mean, he just throw. I mean, it's gonna be like a blind dog in a meat house. He's just out there.
Okay, Russ. No, he fell on the out of bounds line. Russ, this is the bad one. This was a killer because they were starting to come back, and it's like, no. Well, what are you doing? You're better than that. 10 turnovers.
But we need Russ to be Russ. Okay,
that's what they were saying.
Was Russ being Russ. Now you tell me how.
Okay.
The only saving grace, Skip, is that everybody's starting slow. Milwaukee, the Nets, everybody, with the exception of Golden State.
Yep. Okay.
With the exception of Golden, everybody has started slow. But man, this was.
Now let's display what Russell Westbrook. Let's show the 6 threes that he missed. He was 2 of 8. He actually made 2, but he's now 17% for the season. If we could see his 6 misses, just how bad they are. He's a bricklayer.
And he shoot them like he's Steph.
I know. Actually, his form always looks pretty good.
Of course.
And then they just clang bang off the rim.
I mean, I can see if they like rim out. I mean, they ain't even. I mean,
no,
what?
Way short. Come on, Russ. Oh, you got this one wide open. They're just daring him to shoot that one.
Do you blame him?
Nope. Oh, there you are. That's an easy one.
At least be close.
Yep. At least be close. Okay. Now, to sum up the shame that you had to suffer and Laker Nation had to suffer last night, down the stretch of that game, over the last 27 seconds of this game, you get 3 looks at it from 3, all of them very good looks, to tie the game.
Yes.
And the shame of it is how badly all 3 missed. If we could see them in a row, please, starting with guess who. This is for the tie right here. And it's just a bang clang off the back iron. And then Monk, who's been saving you.
But Skip, that was out of a timeout.
Yep.
That was the play they drew up out of a timeout. He throws it away. Look at Melo.
That's like 3 feet short, and Melo said, I couldn't get the handle on it. Well, the pass, that Josh Giddey throws it right to him, and Melo's just shocked, and he said, I couldn't come up clean with the basketball.
Here's the thing, though, Skip. There's 12 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. You come up with it, you take a dribble.
If you need to reset.
Right. There wasn't 2 seconds, Melo. There was 12.
You could just stand still and kind of move the ball, spin the ball in your hands.
You could do it like a free throw. You could even dribble that thing and just...
You could. And then Melo always laughs at himself or sort of laughs at the situation like, ha, 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 I couldn't get the handle. It's like the free throw he shot where he hit himself in the forehead.
Right.
Ha, ha, ha. Well, guess who's fallen back to earth over the last 2 games, San Antonio and Oklahoma City? Melo is now 1 of 12 from 3 after he saved you in the first couple of games, especially against John, the Grizz on Sunday night.
Look, Skip, I never really expected him to continue that hot streak, 6 of 8. That's not, I understand he shot 41% last year. He's more in line, probably 37, somewhere between 35 and 38% for a career. Okay, that's cool. But it's the lack of defense that everybody just stopped playing. Skip, nobody started this. I mean, because you saw it was 26, and the next thing you know, it was 18. It goes back to 24, and then they end the half up 16. And then they come out. So you don't, okay, like, what is Frank Vogel talking about? Does he say, look, guys, look, let's go ahead, the first 5 minutes of the ball game, let's jump on them. Because it's a young team, Skip. The longer you lead them around, the harder they're going to play. Now, they're young. They got young legs. They can run a lot longer than you can. So what you need to do is to put them away and say, you know what, not tonight. But they kept hanging around. They kept hanging around. And the next thing you know, Skip, they're like, hold on. we got this thing under 10. Hold on, we got this thing under 5. And the next thing you know, he hit a shot at the buzzer, and we're up from down 26 to up 2 going to the fourth quarter. Now you got a fight on your hand. What should have been, AD should have been with his heel, had ice on both knees and his ankle.
He should have.
Now he got to play 37 minutes, when he should have only had to play 25 minutes. But let Russ be Russ. You got to stop thinking Russ be Russ. What has Russ being Russ gotten besides Russ stats? But how close have they gotten the team to a championship with Russ being Russ?
Okay, good question. Nowhere. Final stat, actually I got 2 more, but this is the one that just drives it home. Is Russell Westbrook saving the Lakers by undercutting his turnovers by making free throws? Because if he were a 90% free throw shooter, you could say, well, at least he offsets the turnovers. He is now 47% from the free throw line, 9 of 19. Guess where that ranks among 109 qualified players in the NBA?
At least 105.
Well, it's 109. It's dead last.
Oh, my bad.
9 of 19 from the free throw line. He is your starting point guard, shooting 47%
So he got starting
line.
point guard. Well, so in other words, we should trade for Ben Simmons. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. Well, at least Ben would play some hellacious defense at 6'10", right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the final stat, this is a third level one, but it's called value over replacement player. And a replacement player is like some fringe player. What's your value over that? Well, Russ is a negative value.
So the fringe player would be better.
He would be better. No, seriously. He's a minus 0.2, and of 416 qualified players, he ranks 413. This is your starting point guard for your Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
It's a debacle. It's a disaster.
If LeBron get this team to the playoffs, LeBron should be MVP.
I told you.
Just hearing what you said.
Hey, I told you, if LeBron could win this championship in spite of this guy, unless he falls completely out of the rotation and they don't play him anymore, they get rid of him at the trade deadline. But if LeBron wins while playing Westbrook high minutes, I told you, for me, that would enter him in the GOAT debate. You say he is the GOAT, but I say phony GOAT. But the point is that's how huge of an achievement this would be to win in spite of, to overcome that guy for a whole season and a playoff run. It's very difficult to do because he is, as my mother used to say, bullheaded. Like you can't unteach it. You can't uncoach it.
He's had too much success doing it that way.
It's his way. And he just had a documentary drop on his life and times by Gotham Chopra, who's really good.
Right.
Tom versus Time.
Right.
And because of that, and it debuted in L.A., and he had the big premiere, and LeBron attended the premiere and tweeted about it. I told you then, I said, I'm warning you, this is all going to go to his head. I've arrived. I'm back in Hollywood. This is where I was born to be, right? Well, how are you going to unteach everything?
You can't, because he's had success, and anybody that's had success doing it one way is hard. Skip, you think you can say Elon Musk, I think you should do something different with Tesla. I think Jeff Bezos...
But nothing's wrong with Tesla, right?
But I'm just saying...
Right, I got you. Yeah.
He doesn't think anything's wrong with him, Skip. He's averaged a triple-double for the last 4 to 5 years.
He's almost there now.
He looks at himself like, I'm Elon Musk of triple-doubles. There's nothing wrong with me. So why would I change?
I tried to warn you. Here we go. The only silver lining for LeBron, the quote-unquote GOAT, he does have the all-time scapegoat lined up. If it all goes south, it will be Zero's fault, as in 0 rings.
Hey, man, if LeBron could just get this team to the playoff. But I still said Buddy Hield. I just saw Buddy Hield last night, scored 26 and 27 minutes.
He was good last night.
I just saw that. They beat the Suns, Harrison Barnes, over the walk with a buzzer 3-pointer.
Could have had him.
Yeah, kind of hard to see what Buddy's doing and not think...
my buddy. That could have been, I got my buddy.
A little bit. No mercy. According to reports, Arizona defensive end J.J. Watt is expected to miss the rest of the season as his shoulder injury looks like it'll need surgery. The 3-time Defensive Player of the Year had 10 tackles and 1 sack during his first year with the undefeated Cardinals, but injuries have become a consistent theme in the second half of his career. So, Shannon, how much will Arizona miss J.J. Watt?
Not much. He's just been a voice in the locker room. He hadn't been an impact player on the field. You mentioned it, Jenny, 1 sack. I got him down for 16 tackles. I think you said he had 10 tackles in 7 games. Basically, Marcus Golden has been one of their best player. because Chandler Jones hasn't been that guy as impactful as he was the first game when he got up to that great start.
He's returning.
He's returning from the COVID list. And Marcus Golden has 6 sacks, 4 forced fumbles.
Yep.
Chandler Jones, as we just mentioned, Skip, he just got activated off the COVID list. J.J. Watt is not he's J.J. Watt in name only. He's no longer the impactful player that he once was. His first 5 years, Skip, he played in all 16 games, all 5 years. In the last 6 years, he's only played 8 games or more twice. And you go back, dislocated elbow in 2012, 2015 had a torn adductor, herniated disc in his back in 2016 that required 2 surgeries, a tibial plateau fracture in 2017, torn pec in 2019, now shoulder surgery in 2021. He had, Skip, now, his first...
By the way, just to put that in perspective, so he missed 13 games in 2016, 11 games in 2017, 8 games in 2019, and if he's not going to play anymore this year, that would be 10 more missed games.
Correct.
So that would be
that's the equivalent.
42 games over
almost 3 seasons.
6 years. That's 7 games a year if you just do the math on it. Go ahead.
So, and Skip, so look, but his 5-year peak was as good as anybody that we've ever seen. He's the only man that can say, on my resume, I have 2 seasons in which I've recorded 20 sacks in a season. No other individual can say that. He has 3 Defensive Player of the Year. Only 2 other men can say that. That's Lawrence Taylor and Aaron Donald. Now, J.J. Watt was on a peak to arguably be the greatest defensive player to ever live. But injuries had robbed him of that. Skip, there's a reason why the Houston Texans let him go. And they were so unwilling to let Deshaun Watson go because they know Deshaun Watson can still play at an elite level and J.J. Watt couldn't. That's why they let him go. Skip, the Steelers not letting T.J. Watt go. The Rams are not letting Aaron Donald go. Even the Raiders were foolish. Think about it, Skip. The Raiders let Khalil Mack go and then tried to trade back for him. And then John Gruden said, well, you know, pass rushers are hard to find. Well, you had one.
Although right now it seems like the Texans are about to let everybody go, including the quarterback, right?
They're the seller's market right now, Skip. But look, they're not going to miss J.J. Watt because he's not impactful. He's a voice in the locker room. He's a presence in the locker room. He has not been impactful on the field. So I don't believe they're going to miss him.
So I hark back to our very first day here back on September 6th of 2016 here on Undisputed as we launched this show. And one of the first great debates that we had was over this man, J.J. Watt.
I remember.
And you were making the case that he is the best player in football of any position. And I'm like, Tom Brady. And then I start listing quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers. Here we go down the list.
Drew Brees, you went on quarterback.
Like I went 10 deep on quarterbacks, and I said, well, I'll take any of these quarterbacks over J.J. Watt because it's a quarterback's game. And I'll win more games with any of these 10 quarterbacks than you'll win with that guy. But I couldn't argue with especially what he did in 2012 when he had 20 and a half sacks. That was highly impressive. It's just hard to dominate the game from an interior defensive line position. Early on, they moved him a lot more than mostly lately. He's been statuesque in the middle of the line, And your man Wade Phillips, we've had here on the show. You played for him in Denver, obviously. He once upon a time, when somebody asked him early on, J.J. Watt was struggling, is he going to be a bust? And he said, he's going to be a bust in Canton, as you have a bust in Canton, as in Hall of Fame bust.
I actually talked to Wade about that. And Wade has coached some of the greatest. He coached Reggie White, Ricky Jackson, Bruce Smith, Von Miller. And I said, you know, he said, Shannon, he's right there with all of them. I said, with Reggie, with Bruce, Shannon, he's right there with all of them. I'm going to take the man at his words. You know, Wade has been DC and a head coach for 30-plus years in the NFL. He said it. I believe him.
Okay, so I did endorse the signing this year of J.J. Watt, just as I did even more so with A.J. Green on offense, because they've been there and done all that. And with a younger team on the verge, you need those voices in the locker room, if not some impact on the field. And I think A.J. Green has had more impact on the field than J.J. has had so far, right? Although J.J. impressed me more than I thought, because even though he just had 1 sack, as I started looking at quarterback hits, he had 10 in the first 7 games, but he had 9 in the past 4 games. And his point was, I came late, didn't have much of a camp, so I had to sort of play my way into shape here. Well, the problem is he has to play his way into shape because he's just beat all to hell. And I still say, even though he became a social media dynamo, that helped just detonate his popularity, is how great he's been on social media. But he also tried to live up to it by posting
Flipping
YouTube
1,000 pounds.
stunts, right? They're like workout stunts. Where I'm saying, I don't know about that because to me, to my eye, that is threatening your career longevity, right? Why would you do that to impress so many thousand people on YouTube when it's not going to matter to your longevity in this league?
Right.
And all of a sudden, right on schedule, starting our first year in 2016, he missed 13, and then he missed 11, 8, 10. Here we go again, and it's shoulder. And every problem is completely different from the last problem. Because you listed it. We went from back to broken leg to torn pec muscle to shoulder surgery. It's like we're going all over the body. It's not a recurring back issue.
And he doesn't have injuries, Skip, that keep him out 2 weeks.
No.
He has injuries that put him out for the year.
Yep. Well, that's the fourth time in the last 6 years that it ended the year.
He's done.
Okay? So, unfortunately, we didn't get to see a Hall of Fame arc to his career. Not that he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, because he will be, obviously, but we didn't get to see it.
For 5 years, Skip, from 2012 to 2016.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, obviously what Aaron Donald is doing now, but you're going to be hard LT. But it's hard to find very many defensive players that had a better, even if you just take their career than what JJ did. Now I'm going to take LT's because LT was MVP. LT was rookie of that would be the equivalent if Michael Parsons, Skip, won Defensive Player of the Year. Because that's what LT did in 81.
He did.
He was Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. And in 86, he followed it up with an MVP. One of two players, he and Alan Page, was MVPs as a defensive player.
Okay.
But J.J. Watt's arc, Skip, when I say arc, it took off like a rocket.
It did.
It wasn't no gradual. It was like...
Yep.
And then Skip, and as fast as it took off, it seemed 2018, Skip, he had 17 sacks. We like, okay, he got a rebirth, a resurgence. And then 2019, right on cue, boom.
Okay. So speaking of the LT, as in that guy, listen, Lawrence Taylor, for our younger viewers, you should
They don't do it justice. Skip, we can't do it justice.
You can't understand.
No, you can't.
How he dominated the entire league. You can't fathom how much he scared offenses, how much quarterbacks lived in fear of him. He once upon a time on Monday Night Football, as you remember, he broke Joe Theismann's leg, and a compound fracture came through the skin.
Every time you see the chop, he did that. How about this, people at home? I know y'all know who T.J. Watt is, and I know who Aaron Donald is. If you put those two guys together, you got LT.
Okay. So why do I always tell you that I favor the edge rusher over the defensive tackle?
Oh, yeah.
Because the defensive tackle is too caught up.
We can double him a lot
traffic.
easier.
You can just stymie him because he needs to hold that line, as in stop the run. And I'll give you that. J.J. Watt's great at that. But T.J. Watt is more valuable to me because you can line him up on the edge, and now you've got some Von Miller going. I watched Von Miller be the MVP of a Super Bowl because he took the game over from Cam Newton. And it was sort of Cam's game to lose to me because he was the MVP of the league. And I can't remember if they were favored or not, but he was favored to have a big game. I know that. He was the betting favorite to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. And Von said no.
Von took it over.
He took the game over because he literally just took the ball out of Cam's hands. He blindsided him. He terrorized him.
2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles.
It was just... It was a game for the ages as an edge rusher because you can beat one guy and get free and get to the quarterback.
So you believe, like I believe, he didn't have the impact. Did he have the impact that you thought he was going to have on the field?
Who?
JJ.
This year?
This year.
About right, because he did have those quarterback hits. And I think he brought value and mystique to the huddle, you know, where, hey, we got, that's J.J. Watt. But when I look at the defense, you mentioned Marcus Golden. But listen, Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons. Yeah, may he rest in peace wherever he is. You know, like he's not in the league anymore.
He's out here.
Yeah.
I see him right. He ride by my streets a lot of times.
Okay. No, I didn't mean he was deceased. I just mean he's not in the league anymore. But Chandler Jones can still do Von Miller things off the edge. And Budda Baker is a terror at safety. And Zaven Collins, who I watched a lot at Tulsa, who they took in the first round, is a stud playmaker of an athlete.
But Jordan Hicks has been getting all his reps, and Isaiah Simmons. So
listen, Isaiah Simmons is a spectacular athlete who's still trying to figure out who he is and where. But he's got some Micah Parsons going,
and,
right?
And Vance has done a great job with this defense.
Right.
He's like, look, I understand we took Zayvon Collins very high, but right now Jordan Hicks is a better player. Jordan Hicks playing.
Okay.
And so this is what we do.
But what I'm saying is they have some raw talent on defense, which is why they're leading the league in points allowed.
Yep.
They've allowed the fewest points in the NFL. We will see them on display against Aaron Rodgers without Devontae and Lazard tonight. Okay, but we'll see because they have a chance to continue to be the best defense in pro football without J.J. Watt, which at this point says it all because he was not able to cap off his career with a Hall of Fame flourish.
Yeah, but Skip, at this point in time, J.J. Watt might have been the fourth or fifth best player on the defense. He wasn't better than Collins or Chandler Jones. He wasn't better than Marcus Golden. He's not better than Budda Baker. Jordan Hicks was outplaying him. So he was probably fourth or fifth when you talk about defensive play. And that's J.J. Watt, a three-time defensive player of the year. So that's why I'm saying, Skip, I thought he provided more as far as leadership than impact. But I just don't know, Skip. At this juncture, at this age, you just can't keep having these major injuries and keep coming back thinking you're going to be impactful. The body's not. You can only go into the body so many times, Skip. These are major. Skip, this ain't no cleanup. This ain't no scope. He's getting stuff reattached.
Yeah, for his sake, I hope he can come back and have at least one more year, but I'm not sure.
You don't want to go out. I don't think he wants to go out like that, Skip. But you can't keep coming in and having things reattached.
You cannot. All I know, bottom line, is that Cliff Kingsbury, who has a flying circus of an offense, now has a defense.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd see that.
Great. All right, guys, we got to move on to more Lakers. Shannon, you're not getting away from this. All day, we're still talking about it. Russell Westbrook was ejected in the final seconds of last night's loss to OKC when the former MVP took issue with Darius Bazley stealing the victory with a dunk. Afterwards, Russ explained himself, saying, quote, "How I play the game, I'm more old school. And when bleep like that happens, I don't let it slide." So, Shannon, did you have a problem with Westbrook's reaction?
I did. I don't like these unwritten rules. Where is it at in the rule book that says if there's 5 seconds on the clock and we're up by 5 points, I steal the ball, I can't dunk it, I'm supposed to run out the clock? Now, let me get this straight. Russell Westbrook got upset with the last 10 seconds and 2 points. But when they had a 26-point lead and the lead got down to 18, the lead got down to 12, the lead got down to 4, the lead got down to we're tied, he didn't have a problem with that. He didn't raise hell. He didn't say don't do that. But it was only after you caught the L. What it was, he was upset that they blew the lead and this dude did that. Yes. It happened to me just like the same thing. Skip, we played the AFC Championship game at Old Three River Stadium. Jason Gilder, I think it was Earl Holmes, but we didn't want to fight. I said, you had 60 minutes to fight. Get your ass off the field. We're about to celebrate. Don't get mad now. You had 60 minutes to get mad. Don't get mad now, Russ. You had 47 minutes and 50 seconds to do something about him scoring 2 points. You mad about 2 points? What about the 26 that y'all gave up? I ain't seen nobody. Don't do that. Ain't nobody want to shove. Ain't nobody walk up on nobody. Now. They done got the win. They celebrating. If I was Bayless, I'd say, man, get bleep up out my face. You ain't gonna do nothing. You should have did something earlier when you had a 26-point lead. When you was jumping up when Malik Monk dunked and he was on the sideline, and when he was doing what he was doing, he was hood. Bazley said, don't do that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Bazley ain't do that. But now you want to get upset because I got me a cheap too. What about all them cheap assists you done got? You get a triple-double. All them cheap rebounds. Ain't nobody say anything, Russ. Don't do that. Don't do that, Russ. Man, miss me with that. I'm sick of all these unwritten rules. Play for 48 minutes. Play for 60 minutes. You don't want me to hit a home run? If I'm up by 10, don't throw a strike. Because if you throw a strike, I'm swinging. And I'm going to try to take it out the park. And I'm going to look at you. It's your fault. You shouldn't have threw a strike down the middle of the plate.
And if you want to flip the bat?
Yeah, I'm going to flip the bat. And you beam it, guess what? I'm going to throw the bat and hit you inside your head. Man, Skip, I'm sick of these. They ain't no rule. What happened? We play hard for 48 minutes. Oh, so now, Skip, we play hard for 47 minutes and 50 seconds. That's when we play hard. Man, they need to miss me with all these rules. No. Just like with, Skip, one more thing, Skip. Just like with the Ravens. They read victory formation and Vic Fangio. Stop them! Why you mad about that?
Because they needed 5 more yards to go over 100.
Well, you should have been mad about Lamar throwing for 316. You didn't get mad about that?
Nope. Okay. I am very with you on, I had absolutely no problem with this dunk because it was a nip-tuck game in which they were down 26.
Yeah.
If you told me that the Oklahoma City Thunder were up 30 at the end of the game and Baisley stole the ball at midcourt with 2 seconds left, maybe he'd want to just dribble out the clock. If it was a rout, if it was a complete embarrassment of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
But the Lakers had 3 chances to tie the game in the last 26 seconds. So all he was doing was stealing the inbounds pass from Rondo, another turnover by the Lakers, another bad idea. Well, he doesn't even have time to even think twice about it. He's excited. The Lakers are about to, the Thunder are about to upset the Lakers, who are picked the prohibitive favorite to win the Western Conference.
You're right.
And they're 0-4, and they're about to have a 1 in the victory column, and he's just ecstatic, and he just thunder dunks it, okay? Well, who has a problem with that?
Russ.
He's the only one. And what I had a problem with was the Thunder are so young. Derek Favors is their only 30-year-old player.
Right.
I wanted somebody to get back in Russ's face, and Dort sort of did, but I wanted somebody to jump in his face and say, no, you don't do this.
Right, exactly.
Because that was just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so help me out with unwritten rules, old school rules, Russell Westbrook. Do you remember what happened early in the game against Phoenix last Friday night at Staples Center?
Yeah.
They're down 5-0. Could we see this, please? The Lakers are down 5-0, and Russ shoots an awkward, sort of weird jumper, and it goes in, and he rocks the baby on Devin Booker. Devin Booker obviously played in the finals last year. Yeah. He was an MVP candidate. He made the Olympic team, obviously, and was a contributor to the Olympic team's gold medal.
Yes.
And you're rocking the baby on Devin Booker to make the score 5 for Phoenix to 2 for the Lakers, and you're already rocking the baby on him? Wouldn't that break somebody's unwritten rule?
Right.
Because Phoenix was not happy with that, because later Devin rocked it on the Lakers, right?
Skip, here's the thing. It's just that Russell Westbrook is the wrong harbinger for this message about stat padding. Bruh, nobody has done more than you to pad your stat to make sure you get a triple-double.
Nobody in history has done more.
And you mad because this young man, he's 20, you said he's 21. He got a dunk. 21. He got 2 extra points. Yep. So now instead of having, he ended up with 20. So instead of having 18, he got 20, and you mad.
And it was like a joyful dunk. Like we pulled it off. We kept dodging those bullets. They had their chances. They had 3 threes.
Lord have mercy.
Like good looks at it to tie the game, and he's just happy.
Yeah.
It's a happy dunk.
Even if he wasn't.
Yeah.
What you worried about what I do on my team? You had a 26-point lead. You helped lead to the demise of your own team for us to come back. Now you mad. What he was, Skip, he was hurt. They had a 26-point lead. And now you're going to leave the court with an L. That's what he's upset about. Skip, I ain't never been mad about somebody. If we had a big lead, and all of a sudden they still throwing the ball. It's not my job to coach that team. It's not my job to tell them to take a knee. Man, y'all done got us down. Okay, that's enough. They've had enough. No, pile it on. Because I best believe when I get a chance to get your ass back, guess what? Mike, run it up. Let's up the cap. That's one thing I love about playing the Raiders, because I know Mike wasn't going to call the dogs off. So we were trying to beat the brakes off him. Man, Russ, man, miss me with that. Man, where all these written rules come from? I need something down. Okay, I get it, Skip. No blindside block. Back then, when I played, you could blindside block. That's a rule. Yeah. It's in the rule book. But you need to show me something that if I got a 5-point lead and I get a breakaway dunk, I'm supposed to dribble out the clock like I'm Curly Neal or Meadowlark Lemons. I wish I might. I'm getting a cheap bucket.
I got it. So to your point, remember, Russell Westbrook went back last night to Oklahoma City, where it all started for him, where for the longest time he felt like he was stuck, especially after Kevin left to go to Golden State. So Russ goes back, hail the conquering hero. I'm back to show you that I finally made it. I'm now in purple and what I call fool's gold, right? He's purple and fool's gold, but he's wearing purple and gold.
Yes.
I'm now the starting point guard for the team I grew up loving, the team that I dreamed of playing for, and I'm going to show you folks here back in little old Oklahoma City, look who I am, look what I have now become. And this happened. He got his triple-double with one more that made it a quadruple, 10 turnovers. So he was ultimately embarrassed. He was to the point of being humiliated because all those fans left the arena last night thinking, We don't miss that.
Of course.
Because that's the guy that we struggle with. They loved him. They did love him. Trust me. And I saw a lot of Russ jerseys in the stand. I saw a lot of Thunder fans wearing that jersey in the stand.
Skip, here's the thing. You can play hard, but give me a guy that plays smart.
Yep.
And, sometimes people, they're not the same.
That's an oxymoron with Russ.
They're not the same thing. And so that's what Russ needs to understand. You would think, man, I know I'm having individual success, but at this point in time, I'm in a team sport. I need team success.
Yeah.
He got mad, and I'm looking. I'm like, you know, don't do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I said, guess what? Try to get another inbound pass because there was still time on the clock. I'm gonna try to steal that one too. And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shoot me a logo. I'm going to get me a Steph Curry or Dame Lillard in that thing. I'm going to shoot a logo on you. And then what you going to do? What are you going to do? Wolf, don't do that. I'm old school. I'm doing, okay, whatever.
So in the end, as highly respected as Russ is by his peers, the other stars in the league, that was classless to me.
Yeah.
To go after
that's a little old dude. He's been 21 years old. Come on.
That's just hot-headed Russ, just losing his cool, losing his temper, losing his poise, and taking it out on Baisley. And for all the tough guy persona that he displays on the court, I don't know that Russ is a tough guy. I mean, do you think deep down, if push came to shove, would he really push and shove back?
Well, if I'm Baisley, I'd have had to see. I said, because guess what? I'm going to do it again. And all this, every time you turn around, he either rocking a baby or he doing this, or he too small. He too small. Well, don't do that. I'm going to say, Russ, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, just tell Russ, I'm old school.
We don't do that.
We don't break that.
Yeah, Magic them didn't do that. Jordan them didn't do that. Bird them didn't do that. That's old school. Don't do that.
Yep.
So let's say, we going to be old school, we going to be all the way old school. We ain't going to be just old school when you want to be old school.
Yep.
Man,
it was a bad look after an all-time bad game by Russell Westbrook.
I wish somebody would. We done came from behind and we got the lead. And you talk about you can't do that. Yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm the victor. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to dance, do whatever. And what? Get off the field. It's our time to celebrate. We going to see who's the killer whale? Shamu. I see we going to see Shamu.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they sent me a big old Shamu dog, Jenny.
Really?
I said, I'm going to see Shamu.
Where did Shamu?
Running on along, Steelers.
They sent you a doll?
Yeah, they sent me a doll.
A Shamu doll?
Yeah, big whale. The killer whale. You remember the killer whale?
Yes.
Because our first Super Bowl was in San Diego.
Okay.
And so that was an experience.
Back then they sent you a doll.
Yeah, they said, when we went to the Super Bowl, they heard me say, I did Shamu. We going to see Shamu. I don't know where y'all going, Steelers.
Do you still have the doll?
Yeah,
I still got it.
Okay.
I still got it.
Who knew?
Yeah, I still got old Shamu. They want to fight now. They want to push and shove, bro. All of that's not necessary.
Could you bring that in one day, Shannon? I'd also like to see
I think it's at my grandma's house.
Okay, let us know.
No mercy.
For the second straight game, LeBron James sat out due to right ankle soreness. He missed 26 games last year with a high ankle sprain on the same leg, but head coach Frank Vogel said it was a different injury. Shannon, do you have the inside scoop here? What is going on?
I just think the Lakers are playing it safe, Skip, and they're looking at it like this. We got two superstars. OKC Thunder have none. That should be plenty. Russ and AD and whomever else we put on the court should be more than enough for us to win this game.
And it was barely enough at San Antonio.
And it was barely enough. But it's like, you know what? This should be enough, Skip. Winless ball club, this should be enough. And for about a quarter and a half, 2.5 quarters, it was enough. And so I just believe they're gonna err on the side of caution. You get a guy like Russell Westbrook, who's a superstar, that you pair him with Anthony Davis. And Skip, you should have enough on most nights to beat a team like OKC. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to beat the Brooklyn Nets or the Clippers or the Suns or whomever, somebody like that, Skip, Milwaukee. No, I'm not saying you should be able to beat those teams. But a team like this, and I get it, they have professionals also, but you trot the two best players on the court. You trot those out there on your side. So for me, I believe that's what they're doing. I do believe they're going to give it what? So he last played Sunday. So that means I believe he'll play Friday night. I think they played, Cleveland?
Cleveland.
They played Cleveland Friday night.
They did beat the Clippers at Staples.
As a matter of fact, they beat a lot of people the last 3 games. They beat Atlanta. They beat someone else out here before they beat the Clippers.
Kevin Love is back.
No, Evan Mobley and those 2 young guards, Garland and Sexton. I don't know about Kevin Love being back.
Oh, you mean Darius Garland from Vanderbilt?
Man, God, there you go. Why did I bring that
High
up?
draft pick? I don't know. Who knew?
But anyway, Skip, look. I believe LeBron will be healthy enough to play on Friday, and the Lakers will get back on the winning track, and we'll move forward with that, okay?
Okay.
So there's nothing to be alarmed about. LeBron James is going to be just fine.
I was shocked LeBron did not play last night because the internal memo sort of that all the reporters got was that he probably would play on the back-to-back on the road in Oklahoma City. They listed him as questionable last night. So before the game, I was extremely surprised he did not play.
I was surprised also.
And AD was also questionable because he banged knees with DeJounte Murray, and it seemed like after the game that in his mind he was questionable because he said, I got to wake up and see how sore it is.
Yes.
But to his credit, he sucked it up, and he hasn't had the highest pain threshold in the past.
Right.
But he sucked it up and played, and I thought he played pretty well last night, right?
Yep.
You would give him a B for that, right?
Yeah, I thought he played well.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out why this happened because I'm going to reiterate my stance going into San Antonio. They said he could not play because of ankle soreness. Okay, help me out here because you are Shannon Sharpe. You're the 5th horseman. You're actually part of the inner circle.
Right.
So it confounds me that my eye test told me LeBron looked just fine on Sunday night against the Memphis Grizzlies at Staples because with 6:30 left in the second quarter, if we could see it, he went down. And Desmond Bane sort of fell into his planted leg, and I think it scared him more than it hurt him, to tell you the truth, because he grimaced, and it's like, oh, my God, here we go again, because it looked like it could be the same ankle, even going up into the knee on that right side. Right. But he stayed down for a little bit.
He tightened that shoe,
tightened it up, and then he jumps up, and he bounces. And then he started bouncing, and he was bouncing up and down, and I'm saying, wait a second. I was relieved because I thought, are we going to lose him?
That adrenaline got going, Skip. That adrenaline started pumping fast.
Okay, so from that point forward, he played 25 more game minutes, 25 more minutes to get to a grand total of 40 minutes for that game. And it wasn't an overtime. It was a regulation game because Ja missed the 3rd free throw that could have forced an overtime. So 40 minutes is high minutes for LeBron James. It's high minutes for anybody.
Especially early in the season.
Okay, I got it. But he played 25 more after the scene in question. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it was just fine. And then Vogel said, no, it's a different injury than the one last year that kept him out for, 26 games?
26, 27 games,
Okay. And he said, same leg, different injury, no big deal. So everybody reported no big deal. So I half expected him to play at San Antonio because he always says, if he goes third person, LeBron's healthy, LeBron plays.
Yeah, but LeBron trying to tell you the most important thing to him ain't Kareem.
Okay, maybe
it's the ring.
Okay. Well,
and then I'm going to get to Kareem.
So the ring is the thing?
That's it.
Except you said it's the co-thing.
Thing if I ain't got that ring.
Okay, but you said it was a co-goal to pass Kareem and win a ring, right? Okay, so the one co-goal of passing Kareem is taking a hit because he had 2 pretty easy games. And I'm also going to reiterate this. The Lakers, thanks to LeBron, played the easiest. Listen to me. It's the easiest opening schedule in the history of the NBA.
No,
it is. You can't debate this. You can't argue out of this. 12 of their first 15 are at home, but even when they go on the road, they get to play what's left of the San Antonio Spurs, and then the worst team in the NBA, Oklahoma City. And then they come home for Cleveland that is playing way better than
they're playing good.
Okay, but nobody thought Cleveland was going to be that good. And then guess who comes to town next week? Houston and Oklahoma City.
We got Houston back-to-back, though.
Okay, you got 2 Houstons and then Oklahoma City. Well, what is going on here? So even your road games are easy, but 12 of the first 15 are at home because LeBron said, hey, Commish, I got a new guy on the block here. I got this Westbrook guy. I got to figure him out. So I need to start off real easy.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. If he wants to start off real easy, don't he need to actually play with him?
I would have thought so.
Exactly.
Which brings me back to weird LeBron. Okay, so my only theory is this one. I do know that other members of LeBron's inner circle carefully watch this show. And I also know that LeBron James keeps close tabs on everything you say and I say on this show.
What'd I say?
Well, what I said yesterday was I questioned just how badly hurt he was because you kept playing. You played 25 minutes on that end. Okay, but listen, to me, on my little level, because I've had some terrible ankle injuries while out distance running, if I step in a hole or step on a rock sideways or don't see something, and I can show you pictures I've taken of my ankle, it is a grapefruit of black and blue.
Yeah.
And trust me, again, running, you're just going straight ahead. You don't have to go side to side. But trust me, it is so bad you're shut down. Like, I can't run. I can do the bike, okay, but I cannot run on that ankle.
But you had to get back home, though, right?
I had to walk back.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can walk on it, but you just can't push off of it, okay? So my point is, if it's really bad, it's really bad. Yeah. But you can't keep, when I turn my ankle, it's worse than running shoes because they're so high. They get that huge cushion. And if you go completely over on it, look out because you're risking ligament damage. You're risking broken ankle.
I mean, I've done that. I've had,
Okay, but my point is, you're done. It's over. If it's that bad, it's that bad. And again, we talked about the one last year, the Solomon Hill one, and he tried to go for a second, actually came down and made a three from the corner. And then he tried to kind of trot up court, and he said, I can't go, okay? And he shut it down. He was able to walk without a limp to the locker room, but that's the last we saw of him for, was it 26 games?
Yeah, for a minute. But Skip, look, I'm the ankle expert because I've had a lot of ankle injuries, and I've had some high ankle sprains that I've gotten in the game, and I continuously played. I've also had them that, Skip, they were bad that I just ended up not practicing and shooting the ankle up and playing. But I would advise people.
I don't think LeBron went and got his ankle shot.
No. But I'm saying I wouldn't even advise people to do that because you run the risk of doing more long-term damage than good.
All right. So yesterday on the show, I threw it out there. Come on, LeBron. It's not that hurt. You're just load managing early in the year. Well, he always says he doesn't.
We don't.
But it looked like the classic case of road back-to-back. Just take the first night off and get ready for Oklahoma City. Coach the first night, play the second night.
But see, that was the thing. If we really wanted Kareem, those are two cream puffs.
Okay.
So what we do, we go ahead and get 28-28. That gets us closer.
My theory is that maybe this got back to LeBron, or he heard it that I was questioning him, and he said, oh, okay, so I'm not hurt. Well, watch this. Then I won't play at Oklahoma City. It could be a little bit of a diva act like, okay, I'm going to show you I am hurt.
So you don't believe that
I do have ankle soreness.
So I'm just trying to figure this out. LeBron's ankle, you don't believe he's hurt, but somehow out of the blue, somebody told you, well, I played with a torn MCL the entire season. After the fact. And you believe that.
I'm so happy you brought that up because if you weren't, I was. Yesterday on this show, you expressed grave doubt that Tom Brady actually had a torn MCL that he played with, as he so said, all of last season. He said he did it before the season started.
That's what he said.
And he played 16 games and then all the way through the playoffs. He said that all the way through the Super Bowl. What was the grand total of?
20 games.
20 games they played because they had to play out Washington the first one. So that's 20 games on a torn MCL, and he's the Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
And Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer, says, not buying it. Sorry. Okay?
Can we definitively prove that it happened at the beginning of the season and not at some point in time, say like week 13, week 15, happened on a playoff game? How do we know it happened at the beginning of the season?
Because you would have to take his word for it.
So now we got to take
pre-season.
Whoa. You see what you just did?
Okay.
We got to take his word, but we won't take his word.
Okay, but I saw this one happen, and I saw him go down, and I saw him literally bounce back up and bounce on the ankle saying, I got this. I saw him play 25 more minutes to get to 40, and maybe he made the wrong choice, because if that cost you 2 games on the road, then you made the wrong choice by playing the rest of the game against Memphis, right?
Well,
so something has to be wrong here. Either you were wrong to keep playing, or you're not that hurt.
No.
Right?
Hold on. So it's got to be either or. It can't be both.
No, can't be both.
Why not?
I'm buying load management, and then
I'm not buying it.
I'm buying spiteful pride yesterday, saying, "Oh, you don't think I'm hurt? Watch this. I won't play."
I know what I'm not buying.
What?
I ain't buying what you know who's selling 3 for $1. Hey, that's really cheap. Yeah, so I ain't buying that.
I want this on the record that Shannon Sharpe is saying that Tom Brady is lying about his torn
Shannon
MCL.
Sharpe ain't said nothing.
Lying, L-Y-I-N-G.
Shannon Sharpe ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
I just say I believe Goat James is a little naggy, and he wants to make sure he's fully healthy because he don't want to be in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
The worst, we're 5 games in. We're 5 games into the season. I can see if we're 55 games. We're 5. Let's just.
Okay.
Let it develop, Skip.
I don't have any problem, but just own the load management.
We ain't load management.
Yeah, yes, you are. You're just saying, I need to take it easy. But I think last night was a spite move. Like, okay, I'll show you.
Why would he spite?
It's trying to prove how hurt he is. Like, I still can't go.
LeBron ain't got nothing to prove. LeBron is beyond reproach when it comes to that. The man played 17 years and never had anything.
Thinnest skin this side of Kevin Durant.
Oh, my God. I know you. Hold on. Now, we know your guy. Because your guy put me in his little documentary. So don't be talking about no thin skin. Yeah, he and Chopra. Yeah, so you heard it.
Oh, they put you off Undisputed.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying he should retire.
Whoa. No. If he ain't got thin skin, why he worry about what I'm saying? I'm up here in a shirt and tie. What it matter?
But you said it in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. You said this is it. Last year, he's got to go home.
Man, yeah. Tom Brady, I seen Onion with thicker skin than Tom Brady.
Really?
Yeah, Onions.
Well, he's on pace to win the MVP this year, and he's got his team on pace to go back-to-back in the Super Bowl.
He probably got one of them. He probably got an injury like Baker Mayfield. That's gonna come out after the season. He played the entire season where he hopped that. Watch. Why would I tell you now? Something going on.
Okay, so you're saying also Baker Mayfield does not have a no torn labrum and no fractured shoulder.
That's not what I said.
No,
I said Tom Brady after the season is gonna come up with an injury like Baker Mayfield. That's what I said. You see what you try to do.
Okay, I think you just made your bed about Tom Brady, and you're going to have to lie in it. Lie in your bed.
What did I do now?
You said he is lying.
I did not say that.
He is exaggerating his injury.
I said he misspoke the truth.
Yeah. You're saying he had a little bump on his knee, and he turned it into an MCL.
No, I just asked a simple question, Skip. I said, how can we definitively know that this happened before the season and not week 12, week 15? Maybe it happened during the playoffs. How do we know? You said we got to take his word for it.
Have to trust him. And yet, once upon a time, ahead of the AFC Championship game against Saxonville up there in New England. You remember this? What happened that week?
Yeah.
His hand was torn. The skin below his thumb on his throwing hand got torn to the point that he said he needed 12 stitches to close the wound. That was on Wednesday ahead of the Sunday game. And all he did was go out against Saxonville as they were down, 20-10 going to the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Early into the fourth quarter, and he threw for 124 and 2 touchdowns.
You remember how you did Aaron Rodgers?
Okay, but Bill Belichick's defense was down 20-10 to Blake Bortles.
Yes.
And Tom said, I got you.
So let me ask
I
you a
got
question.
this.
So let me ask you a question.
I'll bring you back.
So how many more points did they score?
Well, they scored enough to win, 24-20?
Oh, so in other words, they were down by 14. They were down by, 10 points? They had 20.
Yep.
And Coach Belichick's defense pitched a shutout the rest of the game.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, it hadn't pitched a shutout through 3 quarters because they got to 20, which was disgraceful.
Oh, so it was disgraceful.
So it was. Blake Bortles got to 20 points in Foxborough.
But you do realize that Jacksonville had a very good team. They went to Pittsburgh, on the road to Pittsburgh.
No, it was great.
And beat Pittsburgh.
That was their year. That was their shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did that. So don't make it seem like it was a fluke.
Okay.
So is Blake Bortles the equivalent of Caleb Haney?
Okay.
I would say so.
How hard is it to throw a football with 12 stitches in the palm of your throwing hand?
I just asked Dr. Belichick. And Dr. Belichick didn't think it was that hard.
He said it's not exactly open heart surgery.
That's what Dr. Belichick said. I just got to take Dr. Belichick at his word.
Yep.
Right?
Well, I would deliver that same line back to LeBron James. It's not like you just had open heart surgery. Can't you at least play against the Thunder? If he plays, that's a dub. If he plays, you got 35 more points toward Kareem.
Sounds like MVP to me. LeBron James didn't play, and you lose to OKC.
Okay.
And you just said, had LeBron played, they would have won. That sounds like an MVP.
Okay, well, show me MVP. Take it back over, and here you go. You should rip off, 15 straight wins?
Nah,
as you come back against Cleveland?
Oh, but you already know. You don't know he's on the team that had 27 straight wins, right?
Who was?
Go. When he's in Miami. Remember they ripped off 27 straight?
Yeah. Well, when you have D-Wade and Chris Bosh and Eric Spoelstra. Pat Riley,
Did he do that?
He did that once upon a time. That was a long time ago. That was like back in prehistoric.
All I'm saying is LeBron is just fine.
Yep.
But when he comes back, which I believe will be Friday, somebody's in a heap of trouble.
LeBron, I dare you to play Friday.
Trouble.
I dare you not to be a diva and say, I'm still a little achy. I got to kind of protect it.
What you mean achy?
I don't know. I just don't see it. Well, how do you keep playing on an ankle like that when it's going to keep you out of 2 more games? It doesn't. 2 + 2 = 8, right?
4. It's a little snaggy. Don't push it. We're 5 games into the season.
Yep.
We're not 55. We're not 65. So we good. This is not the playoffs. His services shouldn't have been required.
Actually, 2 + 2 = 6 in this case, right? And that is new number 6. I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
Makes no sense.
Just a couple days into this thing. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
tread lightly.
I think I got you on this.
No, you ain't get nothing.
I got you too, LeBron.
No mercy.
The NFL trade deadline is approaching this Tuesday, and while Carolina reportedly dropped out of the running for Deshaun Watson, it still looks like the Texans QB will be on the move. It's being reported that a deal has apparently been agreed upon between Houston and Miami that would send Watson to his preferred destination. So, Shannon, do you believe he'll be traded to the Dolphins by next Tuesday's deadline?
I do. Both parties seems to be very, very interested in getting a deal done. I remember coming out here, Skip, and I told you, I said he's never taken another snap for the Houston Texans. They can dig in. Nick Sirianni I think that's the name, that's the general manager. I said he can dig in all he wants to. Deshaun Watson has never taken another snap for them.
Yeah.
This was before.
You're talking about Caceres.
Nick Caceres, excuse me. Not Sirianni.
Yeah.
Nick Caceres.
Yeah.
And even before these accusations came to light, I said, this is Deshaun Watson's stance. I had spoke to someone very close to him. I said, this is it. Oh, no, they seem to be dug in. I said, he dig in all they want to. He ain't taking a snap for him. And they probably should have moved on and could have got a king's ransom had they done this, Skip, in the offseason before the draft. But they wanted to try, they wanted to try to hold their ground, toe the line. And it's like, nah, he was done with that. And it seems to me that Stephen Ross has agreed to the compensation. When you are someone like this, given the accusations that's been levied against Deshaun, you running this all the way. This ain't no general manager. This ain't no player personnel. Skip, you going to him. You going over to his house.
Yeah.
And you says, okay, you lay out. Okay, this is what's being said. These are some of the accusations. Are you comfortable giving up 1, possible 2 first-rounders, maybe a second and a third, and maybe even a player? Mr. Ross, are you okay with this? You do know. Now, Mr. Ross has asked the NFL, we need some assurances, but the NFL can't give you assurances when they don't know what the DA is going to do. Now, I think her name is pronounced Og, O-G-G, Kim Og, who's the DA of Harris County. They haven't done anything.
In Houston.
Houston. She's probably going to have to convene a grand jury because I'm afraid if she were to just totally drop, let this thing go, women's group going to be, woo. So she probably will convene a grand jury and says, hey, I took it to the grand jury. They said, no, I don't really know what else you want me to do.
Yeah.
The NFL can't give him any assurances, Skip, because they don't have all the facts either. I just believe, just with me talking, I haven't talked to anybody, I would assume that if Deshaun didn't play a down this year, that would be his punishment. I could be wrong. Roger Goodell, knowing Roger Goodell, ain't no telling what he might do because they all over the place. Because 1 minute, Skip, you know what they do? They wrote up a full report on Bountygate. They ain't give you nothing on Spygate. They run up a full report on Deflategate. Ain't give you nothing on the Washington football team.
Nope.
So you see the consistency.
Yep.
So we never know what we're going to get out of this organization.
No.
But for me, Skip, I believe this is done. But next Tuesday, the trade deadline, I believe Deshaun Watson will be a Miami Dolphins because I believe both parties are very interested, highly interested in getting a deal done. And it is best for both parties to move on without each other.
Okay. I hear you if we're talking strictly football on the field.
Yeah.
It sounds like signed off, ready to go.
Yes.
Here we go, ahead of next Tuesday's, I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline.
That is correct.
I'm starting to doubt this is going to happen because reportedly Stephen Ross says before he signs off, he needs a resolution on the civil cases and the potential criminal cases against Deshaun.
Right.
Well, I just don't think we're going to get that
Right.
ahead of next Tuesday.
Right.
Help me out because I'm a little lost here.
Yeah, they ain't convening no grand jury in the next 2-3 days, Skip, and to come to some kind of resolution on the criminal side.
Yeah.
Now, the civil side, that's between Deshaun, Rusty, and the accusers.
His attorney, Rusty Hart.
Rusty Hart. So, Skip, that's between them. Now, there's nothing. Miss O, I think that I hope I'm saying her name right, Skip. She's not convening a grand jury in the next 5 days.
I don't think so. So just to reiterate, 2 or 3 women accusing him of sexual misconduct and assault would be bad enough.
Yes.
We're up to 23 women have accused him. And the Houston police have reportedly interviewed at least 10 of said women.
Right.
Well, I used to be the biggest Deshaun fan, and I still am on the field, but off the field, I've become a skeptic.
Right.
And it would be hard for me as an owner to say, okay, I'm going to accept this because I'm not sure at this moment what I'm accepting because I still don't know exactly what happened.
Right.
I know there's a mountain of accusations.
Yes.
And as
Yes.
you know, it's rare that we have this many accusations. Well, for that matter, 1 would be bad enough.
Right.
But we're up to 23. The magnitude of this, the volume of this is staggering to me, and it makes me more and more suspicious of what went on.
Right.
And this is not the kind of conduct and behavior that you want your face of the franchise to have if you're going to pay the sun and the moon for him in trade, right? So that's why Stephen Ross is saying, I need a resolution, civil, potential criminal, and I need to know, NFL, how are you going to punish him if I trade for him?
Right.
Are you going to punish him some more?
Yeah, we want that, what you call him, we want that Daniel Snyder punishment.
Okay.
Which is nothing.
Well, okay.
If I'm Stephen Ross.
Okay, I got it. But it seems so complicated.
It is, because the commissioner said, Skip here said, he said we don't have enough information to make a determination whether
Commissioner Goodell is saying, well, I'm waiting on the criminal side of it.
Right.
The Houston police are back to the DA. I need to know, what are you going to do? Because we will respond in kind.
Well, Article 46 says you don't have to wait. You see what he did, Skip?
But they usually use this as their fallback. We're just waiting to see what the system...
That ain't what he did with Ray Rice. That's not what he did with Adrian Peterson. They didn't wait. Article 46 says at first, because that was the argument that he used. He said, "Well, I'm waiting for the criminal process to take its course." Okay. They said the media, the fans, everybody was saying, "Well, you're the commissioner." Yeah. Article 46 gives you special powers that you don't have to wait.
Okay, but to your point, you can argue on the commissioner's behalf that effectively Deshaun just got suspended for an entire season.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally 100% agree with you. He's on the commissioner's exempt list without being, because he's not hurt, he's not injured. What other reason is there for him not to play, Skip? First of all, he's better than Tyrod, 1,000%. He's better than Davis Mills, 10,000%. So he's healthy.
He's a top 5 quarterback.
Yes. So there's no other reason for him not to play other than...
Yeah. So we keep talking about in the history of this league, we've never had a 26-year-old top 5 quarterback on the market.
Nope.
We've also, to my memory, never had one accused by 23 different women of sexual misconduct and assault. So
these guys don't come available, Skip. I mean, unless they're injured, like Peyton Manning became available, but that was after what, year 15. Tom Brady came available after year 20. Drew Brees had a historic injury that many people thought his career was over. Got 26-year-old guys with no injuries don't become available unless what? Okay, we have these 20, however many accusations that's been levied against Deshaun Watson. That's why they become available. It seems to me that even if they get settlement, that Stephen Ross is willing to stomach any possible blowback that might come along with signing Deshaun Watson. Because you know how this is. Just like when Philly signed our good colleague Michael Vick. The PETA and ASPCA, all of them showed up for weeks and for months.
Did they?
So you're going to have to be able to stomach that as an organization. It says, okay, eventually you guys are going to go away. We're going to win football games. And this guy gives us an excellent chance to do that.
Okay, so obviously from the Dolphins' perspective, one way that Deshaun could sort of get out from under the civil side is just to say, I go settle with all of them. However, if it takes 23 settlements, it'll take 23. Reportedly, Deshaun's side of this is saying, well, we don't want that kind of admission of guilt. Because Rusty Hardin continues to argue that whatever happened between these women was consensual. Okay? That it was consensual every time that it happened. I don't know, but 23 is 23. And if Deshaun is dug in like, I'm not going to admit guilt and pay these women off to go away, right? Well, now you got a real problem where it makes him virtually, to me, untradeable by the deadline. That's what it makes him.
I believe he gets traded by the deadline, Skip, and that's not, hey, I mean, Skip, police settle all the time. Doctors settle without an admission of guilt.
Yeah, okay.
They say, well, hey, we admit no fault. It's a bad situation. I hate it. I hate the young man's in this spot. I feel bad for the accuser in this spot. It's an untenable situation. It's bad for everybody all around. I just don't know how. What else to do, Skip. I just really don't. I don't know what else to do.
Well, my gut feeling is that right now he is not going to get traded, but that's just my guess from a distance.
So they're going to hold on to him, huh?
It's almost like they don't have a choice until we get resolution on all of the above, because this is some serious stuff.
It is, but the price is going down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could have got, when he first said, I want to get out.
Now that Carolina reportedly has bowed out,
Well, they ain't have no, but here's the thing. Deshaun has always had the leverage because he had a no trade. It wasn't a situation where we could trade you to anywhere we want to trade you.
No.
He would have to have signed off. It seems to me that Miami is a place that he feels very comfortable with. No state tax. He seems to like Brian Flores. That was one of the things that rubbed him the wrong way, is that you told him you were going to do one thing. You assured him you were going to do one thing. You did something different. We see the son of the father, Cal McNair, said something at a golf tournament, which is another reason why he wanted to be out of there, another reason why a lot of the other black players wanted to be out of there, because they said, when you get, like you said, 22 people, that's a lot. But when you get 5, 6, 7, 8 black guys saying this seems plantation-like, okay.
I buy that for sure.
So we need to take that into consideration. But I believe he's going to get traded. I believe he gets traded by the deadline. I believe we'll have some type of resolution.
What a sorry situation this is.
Yeah, on all fronts. So trade deadline Tuesday, and we will have answers by then.
No mercy.
Well, Big Papi is giving away $25,000 for Game 3 of the World Series on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Super 6 players have won over $5 million, and you could be the next jackpot winner. Scan the QR code, download the app, answer 6 questions about Game 3 before first pitch tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Don't miss out. It's free to play. Big Papi giving away some money, so why not? Have a shot at it. In their second straight game without LeBron, the Lakers were up by 26, but still fell 123-115 to the Thunder. Russell Westbrook had a 20-point triple-double, but also had 10 turnovers contributing to the loss. And to cap it all off, he was ejected after receiving his second technical in the game's final seconds. Had to do it at the end. We're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, I start with you. Do the Lakers have a Russell Westbrook problem?
No more than we thought they'd have. right? I mean, we all knew this. I remember the day that the rumor came out. I was on the show, and the three of us, if I'm not mistaken, said, no, they do not need to do this. It will not work. Now, Shannon and I are willing to give it a shot and watch it and see if it works, but this is going to be a problem. We all knew it wasn't a match made in heaven, and we just have to watch over time to see if they can figure this out. I said yesterday I put out some lineups that I think could work, and we'll see if they end up going to those. But it's going to take a long time. And yes, I said yesterday that Russell Westbrook he's like Bitcoin in sneakers. All right, he's that volatile. All right, and all of that was on display yesterday. Because at first, he was great. When they built that 41-19 lead, he had like 5 points, I think 6 assists, or maybe it was reversed, but he was dropping dimes. They looked great. All right, and he's had moments this season where he looks like a tremendous passer. He's getting guys lobs and things like that. And then you saw it fall apart. And you see these bloopers. I mean, some of those turnovers are just incredible. So you got the 20 points, great. You got the 14 rebounds, great. You got the 13 assists, awesome. But you also got the 10 turnovers. And that is what Russell Westbrook brings you. Greatness, but volatility. And LeBron obviously looked at it and said, I can handle that. But I don't think you understand what it's like to play with Russell Westbrook until you play with Russell Westbrook. Because look, LeBron has had some, he and D-Wade weren't the perfect fit. And people compared D-Wade's fit with Russ and D-Wade, or LeBron and D-Wade worked, LeBron and Russ can work. Wade was a high percentage shooter, much higher percentage than Westbrook is. And I'm not talking about jump shots. I'm talking about shooting percentage, field goal percentage. He was a better decision maker than Russ. And obviously he was a better defender than Russ. Kyrie, yeah, he was quirky. He had an attitude at times. He wanted to be the man. But at the end of the day, he could play off the ball because he could shoot the lights out. He could finish. He could close. He and LeBron were a great fit, actually, on the court. And now Westbrook is a totally different animal. And over time, and probably even already, the Lakers are beginning to see how challenging it's going to be to fit these pieces together.
Yeah, and hopefully now they'll stop saying we want Russ to be Russ, because you saw Russ in all of his glory. Stop saying you want Russ to be Russ, because Russ being Russ will get you bounced. If you're fortunate enough to make it to the play-in or to the playoff, Russ being Russ will get you bounced like he's been getting bounced the last several years in the first round. That's what Russ being Russ will get you. And the thing is that his decision-making, he doesn't understand. As the other team is getting momentum, he doesn't come down and try to run a set. Maybe Vogel doesn't even have sets, but he's not coming down trying to get a quality look. He's trying to come right back. Somebody hits a three, well, I'm going to come right back against you and get a three. Somebody gets a layup, well, I'm going to try to go through 4 and lay the ball up. I'm like, Russ, and he gets all the way under the basket. And then he's going to throw an outlet pass to DJ, who hasn't even crossed half court yet. I'm like, Russ, what the hell are you doing? I mean, when you look at the mistakes that he's making, you're like, there's no way a guy of this caliber should be making the mistakes that Russell Westbrook makes. Zero. Russ, as a professional, guys led the league in assists. But when you look at it, the volatility that, as you mentioned, that comes along with him, at this point, Chris, he is what he is. We have an 8-year. 8 years is plenty. I know some medicals, they don't use 8 years of data. We got 8 years of data that says he's finished first or second in turnovers. That's what he is. He's a high turnover guy. He's a low efficiency guy. He's a ball dominant guy. That is what he is. So if anybody tries to tell you that, oh, that's not what, yes, he is. That's what he is. Low efficiency, ball dominant, high turnover. That's what his resume is. Is he a phenomenal player? Sure. But that doesn't change the fact of what he is. And LeBron James has his work cut out for him. This will be LeBron James' most daunting task that he's undertaken in his entire life. More difficult than building the LeBron brand, more difficult than building Spring Hill, his production company.
Agreed.
Nothing.
Agreed.
What LeBron James has ever done in his life, even building up the courage to go ask Savannah, will you go out on a date for me?
Agreed.
This is his most difficult task.
Agreed.
Surviving
Well
the streets of Akron,
Yes.
Ohio. Yes.
Nothing measures up to this guy.
Nothing.
I tried to warn both of you before the season started. This will not work. This is a match made in Halloween hell, is what it is. Russell Westbrook was on full display last night as the polar opposite of LeBron James. LeBron has the highest IQ in professional basketball. I still think he's the best passer in professional basketball. And Chris, as I told Shannon earlier, what blows my mind about Russell Westbrook is he's obviously a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer who plays point guard and has very little feel for the game of basketball. He has low basketball IQ, and his greatest strength is actually his greatest weakness. He plays so hard on offense. He plays hell-bent 1,000 miles an hour, and he becomes a solo act of a stat machine because he can get you triple-doubles every night. He can average a triple-double, and he's almost doing it again for the Lakers. He's already 18, 9, and 9. But in playing so hard, in stuffing the stat sheet with hustle points and hustle rebounds and hustle assists, he plays completely out of control and without conscience. For years, especially the last 5, 4 of which he's averaged a triple-double, he has been given the triple-double pass for throwing so many bad idea passes. Right. You just accept it.
Right.
Oh, that's just Russ being Russ. Right. But he's a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer because he's doing something nobody ever dreamed that a human could do.
Right.
For the last 5 years, he averaged a triple-double. Yeah, he did, and it got him what? It got him nowhere. It got Kevin Durant up out of Oklahoma City because he finally said after 9 years, I can't win a championship with him as my primary decision maker. And LeBron is going to realize that he already has, obviously. That's what's happening. And you say, well, okay, so LeBron goes back to handling the ball the most at point guard. And you do what with Russ?
Right.
Where do you hide him if he's not the point guard? Help me out.
Because guess what? Because what we saw last night, Chris, is that when they kick it to him, when they swing the ball and they kick it to him, it's a clank.
It's a clank because he's now...
Right.
4 of 23 from 3. A long time ago, I nicknamed him Westbrook because that's who he is. He's 17% from 3. Well, that ranks 113th of 119 three-point shooters.
Who the hell worse than him? I want to know those 4 guys.
But how about free throws? So does he make it up by shooting 90% from the free throw line as a point guard? He's 47%. He's 9 of 19. That ranks 109th of 109.
Well, Skip, that goes hand in hand.
That's dead last.
Well, Skip, that goes hand in hand. Steph Curry is a great three-point shooter because he can shoot free throws.
He's a 90%.
So if you look at Russ, that 4 for 19, it matches up with his free throw percentage, which is 47%.
Okay, and my favorite basketball stat, PER, player efficiency rating. I have to rename player inefficiency rating for Russ because he's plummeted to 181st in PER or PIR. It's abominable. It's an embarrassment that Russell Westbrook went home, so to speak, back to where it all started in Oklahoma City last night, hailed the conquering hero. I'm back. Let me show you what I have now achieved. I'm now the starting point guard for my Lakers that I grew up living and dying for, and 10 turnovers happened. And by the way, we just got to show them one more time. Can we just see them in order, please, just quickly, just to drive home to the viewers who might not have digested this game last night, just how humiliating this was for the Lakers. There's one. What? Russ?
Just bad
okay, that's just bad idea.
Just terrible.
Right?
Look
Russ?
at this one.
Right.
Russ, what are you
Most
doing?
of them
Where are you
just
going?
bad
Jump up under the
You're
basket.
just out of control. You have nowhere to go. I'm going to throw it to nobody. I'll throw it to nobody. And they're going to go get an easy one. I'll throw that to... Wait a minute. Oh, he shouldn't have got one there, maybe. No, I don't know. Russ? It's a lob pass that misses the lobby by 5 feet behind him. What? Russ, you're going to fall out of bounds with the basketball. That won't work. Russ, this was a big moment in the game. This is when you thought they were going to take it back over.
Yeah.
Nope, sorry. Okay, so Chris, back to you. Have you ever seen a player of this caliber be so completely out of control with the basketball? Because I have not.
No, and look, I hesitate to make this comparison because I don't think Deontay Wilder is like an all-time great heavyweight, right?
Okay.
But Russ is kind of like the Deontay Wilder of the NBA. He's got that punch, right? And he's got that gaudy record, which Russ has the triple doubles. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, Wilder's got no fundamentals. Right? And Russ really isn't fundamentally sound. Can't shoot, makes bad decisions with the basketball, doesn't understand time and score.
Doesn't play defense.
He's got heart, and we saw Wilder had heart against Fury.
True.
The thing is, to win a championship, you got to beat a Tyson Fury. Right? Like, Wilder could beat the rest of the guys. And Russ can beat a lot of teams. But to win a championship, which Russ hasn't done, you've got to beat a Tyson Fury. You've got to beat a great fighter. And if you tell Deontay Wilder, well, box, right? And that's what the Lakers know. If they tell Russ, well, just calm down. Don't be yourself. We got to switch it up. You got to adjust. Then they know that's telling Deontay Wilder to just box. And now he can't do that. So he's got no chance. So now what they're saying is, all right, swing away, Deontay, because that's the only hope you got. And that's what you see happening. Like I said, he's got to get it on the wing. They got to put the ball in LeBron's hands. He's got to get it on the wing and drive. Yep. And they got to spread the floor so at least the lanes might be open if the defenders get out there and guard the shooters. That's the only hope.
You got to play the game within the game. If you look at the great point guards, they're all thinkers. You look at Magic, you look at Stockton, you look at Kidd, you look at Chris Paul, you say LeBron, even Rondo.
It's the definition of the position.
Right, because you got to play the game within the game. As the game is being played, you need to understand that, you know what? Hey, they tried to go on a run. Let me tell you, take this pace down. Not go right back at them. And, if a team scores a touchdown, okay, they score 2 touchdowns. Now, I need to run the ball. Skip, I can't just go back out here and just go bombs away because what I've done, I've allowed them to seize complete momentum. What does Russ do? He seized the momentum, and he's trying to speed the tempo up. Bron, you got to slow it down. You got to take some of the air out of the room. And he doesn't understand that. You mentioned the Deontay Wilder. You got to have defense. I mean, you can't. It's hard to be a great fighter when you just fight offensively because anytime you throw something is liable to come back. And that's what Deontay Wilder didn't understand. Yeah, you can throw those haymakers, but I've never seen anybody throw a haymaker like this here. When you throw a haymaker, this is open too, so they can shoot something back down Main Street. It was just, this was the worst thing that could have possibly happened last night.
Bottom line to this, last quick point. Do you think Russ lost any sleep over this last night? Because nobody has ever held him accountable for any of this. Because he's Mr. Triple-Double.
Exactly. And you overlook a lot of times, Skip, a guy throws for 400 yards and he has 2 interceptions. You overlook that. Like, man, but the man threw for 400. Russ has been getting these triple-doubles, but we have overlooked the 6-7 turnovers that's going along with those 13, 14 assists. Last night, 10 assists? 10 turnovers?
And the turnovers eventually, they always get you. They always affect you, and they add up. They add up, especially in his eyes. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today and weighing in on this. No mercy. Fox Bet Super 6 wants you to stack the cash. Scan the QR code, download the app, and enter the free-to-play NFL Sunday Challenge contest. Make your picks, and then invite your friends to play as well. The more people who enter, the bigger the jackpot gets. Mike McCarthy's plan all along has been to slowly bring Dak Prescott along since the Cowboys found out he had a calf strain. Dak was limited in practice yesterday while Dallas prepared backup Cooper Rush as the starter just in case. And however, CeeDee Lamb said his starting QB looked, quote, perfectly fine yesterday despite the injury. Good news to hear from CeeDee. Shannon, scale 1 to 10, how sure are you Dak will play Sunday night?
10.
10. Thank you, Dr. Sharpe.
Jerry Jones, so this is not even registered on his worry meter. So why should I be worried? I mean, Dr. Jones has spoken. Look, and plus, it's Wednesday, Skip. Just ease it back into practice. Don't do anything, strenuous. Just let him take it gradually build. We'll see Friday how it feels. Get on the plane Saturday, take off. And when they play? Sunday night? Sunday night, yeah. Get on the plane Saturday and be ready to go Sunday night. I am not concerned about this. I know you want to try to build this up like my quarterback is about to experience something, and it ain't going to happen. I'm not worried. You're not worried. Jerry Jones is not worried. C.D. Lamb said the quarterback looked good to him. That's good enough for me.
Jerry Jones is now trying to speak something out of existence. He's trying to make it go away. So I'm going to ignore it so it will subside and just get well.
What about CD?
He just said he looked normal. That's what he said, normal. And CD's final line was, I'm 90% sure he's going to be out there. Well, he didn't say I'm 100%.
Okay,
you
90.
said 10.
I went 10.
Okay, are you going to go 9 out of 10 or 10
I'm going
out of 10?
10.
I don't get it. I'll go up to a 6 today just because I'm starting to be slightly optimistic. But also our man Ezekiel Elliott, said that Cooper Rush looked great in practice yesterday and that I have all the faith in the world in him. And it seemed like he was planting seeds like we may just have to go forward with Cooper Rush. Undrafted out of Central Michigan, had one short stint back in 2017 in a real game in which he completed 1 of 3 passes for a grand total of 2 yards.
Why are you trying to oversell this?
Okay, I'm not trying to oversell it. I'm just telling you for a fact. If Cooper Rush starts on Sunday night, we will lose.
First of all, there's a chance you'll lose even if Dak starts.
Okay,
so
to your point.
That being said,
the Vikings are tied for the lead in the NFL with the Chicago Bears in sacks.
Yep.
That's not a great place to go if you can't move, right? And what else do the Vikings have on their resume so far?
First cousins.
They've won 3 of their last 4 to get to 3-3. And by the way, do you remember what they did at Arizona against the hottest team in pro football on stage tonight on Fox?
They should have won that game.
They should have won the game because their kicker had a 37-yard walk-off field goal at the buzzer and missed it.
And he gagged it.
And if you don't gag it, you just beat Arizona and they're not undefeated, and you're on their kind of roll, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember, they lost their opener in overtime to the Bengals, which is no shame now.
Right.
But again, it's actually a point for them that they took the Bengals to overtime, right? Okay, so they're a dangerous opponent. I need Dak to be right. And McCarthy talked yesterday about how quarterbacks can get over this injury faster than other positions because there's not quite as much, severe push-off on the calf.
Right.
But remember what he went through with your man Aaron Rodgers back in those 2014 playoffs. He limped through the whole playoff. Remember that?
Yep.
And he limped through the Des Carter game, and he limped up to Seattle, and he had his worst playoff game, to my eye, at Seattle.
Right.
And you have to give him a slight break and slight pass.
Oh, McCarthy, that should have been your first indication about time management, clock management, and decision-making, McCarthy, in that game.
Okay, but wasn't there an onside kick that was botched?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that hurt. But Aaron played by his standards poorly in that game. Was it some that he didn't have the mobility? He couldn't make you miss a little bit in the pocket?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so again, I saw the video of Dak. We've been showing the video. He looked pretty normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I just know these things linger. These things persist.
What if it ain't? What if it's not a thing? What if it's not a thing?
Well, I hope it's not, and I hope you are right because we need to launch from here. We need to go up to Minnesota. This will be a tough game. You could argue it's our toughest game. You could say since the opening night at Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Well, the Chargers should have beat you.
Yeah, but Dak Prescott has owned third cousins, and
he didn't.
And I remind you, my team went up there with Andy Dalton and won last year, but Andy Dalton is way better than Cooper Rush.
And the year before, first cousins came to your place and beat the brakes off you. So
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
It's a distant memory.
He
didn't beat the brakes off us, actually.
Brakes.
We had you. You were on the ropes.
Yeah. And then what happened?
Kirk Cousins was on the ropes. No. And all of a sudden, after Dak got hot-handed, they gave it to Zeke 3 straight plays, and we went nowhere. Well, do you remember that?
Now you blame it. So you're going to blame
Jason Garrett. Thank you. That was on Jason Garrett. Remember, that was a big, was it like a Thursday night game, I believe it was. But we owned them.
First cousin was dealing.
Yeah.
But hold on, wait a minute. So you believe Dak, his injury might be significant, but you don't believe Goat James' injury? might be having a nagging injury, huh?
I don't. Because did Dak keep playing after it? No, he threw a walk-off.
It was a walk-off.
I know, but
he
again,
said he could have.
Okay, well, could he? I don't
I've been
believe
going
it.
by what he said.
I watched him limp all the way up the tunnel off the field. I didn't see LeBron limp for 1 second after his alleged injury with 6:30 left in the second quarter. He played 25 more minutes. Did you see him limp or gimp around?
Did he go down?
No.
Did he go down?
He went down, but he always goes down because
Did
he's
Dak go
the
down?
melodrama king.
I saw Dak run down there, was hugging up CD, and then all of a sudden he come up there.
He wasn't running, he was limping.
And then all of a sudden I see him after the game, he walking like Captain Hook.
He was limping all the way up the tunnel.
Stop it.
Yeah, and then he had a boot on after the game. Did LeBron leave in a boot from Staples?
And they put everybody in the boot now.
Sunday night?
Dude got a hurt elbow. He in a walking boot. I'm like, what did boot got to do with his elbow?
I don't know.
So they put everybody in the boot. They ain't did nothing.
Yep. I don't know. A lot of people are reporting that the Cowboys are 50-50 on playing him because they don't want this to linger. They want to make sure it's done.
Hold on. I don't want to know what no Cowboys. I want to know what Jerry say. Because that's the only one that matter. Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, it doesn't matter. The reporters, doesn't matter. What does Jerry say?
Jerry's saying, I got a Super Bowl shot here, and I need my quarterback to play, so I'm going to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Okay.
Let's see about that Sunday night. It all gets very interesting. I'm actually already really excited for Monday. This should be fun for us.
No mercy.
The Cardinals are looking to stay undefeated tonight on Fox, and Kyler Murray's development in year 3 is a big part of their success this season. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, Murray is neck and neck with Josh Allen and Dak Prescott to win MVP this year. So, Shannon, what is Kyler's NFL ceiling?
An MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's a very special talent. He has speed, he's powerful, he's accuracy, he can make every throw. But his feet is what sets him apart, Skip. You can't simulate what he does. I mean, if you find a guy that's fast enough, he can't throw the football. You find a guy that throws the football, he's not fast enough. So how do you simulate a guy like him or Lamar Jackson in practice, Skip? You get no simulation for that. You can get guys that accurately says, okay, this is what we want you to do with the ball. Or say a Tom Brady or a Matthew Stafford, guys that can make throws. But when you add his legs to the mix, Skip, this is a different animal. My only concern about him is that he was such a small man.
Yep.
I say, even if Skip, if you don't hit him flush, just the mere fact that a 340-pound man is falling on top of a 185-pound man, just that in and of itself.
I think he's close to 200.
You give him 200?
Yeah, I do, but go ahead.
You know 200.
I got it. I know what you're saying. He is actually stoutly built.
Yeah, he's compact
right,
now. Yeah. He's not the typical guy you see. You look at him and tell. You look at his arm, Aaron Rodgers' story. You look at him in those sleeves.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell. Okay, yeah, he's put together fairly, but still, he's such a small man. But his ceiling is an MVP. His ceiling, he can take a team to a Super Bowl. They've done a great job of putting pieces around him with D-Hop, A.J. Green. They got Zach Ertz now, Skip. They got 2 guys in the backfield with Edmonds and Connor. So I like what they've done. They keep building the offensive line because you got to protect him.
So just for the record, it took the man across me a while to come around on Kyler Murray, but you have come full force around.
My only concern was still, Skip, his size.
When he was back at Oklahoma, I kept telling you, these are the quickest feet I've seen since Barry Sanders was at Oklahoma State playing college football. And you scoffed at me because you said Barry Sanders is a whole nother level.
Right.
I don't believe he is. I believe that Kyler's feet are right there with Barry's because Kyler has cartoon feet.
Yeah.
They're going so fast. And he made a run in the shootout against Texas that year at Oklahoma. If we could see this, where he just escaped and got away, and all of a sudden this was a shootout which they ended up losing to Dicker, the kicker, on a walk-off. But it was so lightning struck so fast that it just took your breath away. And I said, that guy can play pro football because his passing release is tight and it's electric.
Right.
Like it's lightning. The release is just lightning. And he was deadly accurate at Oklahoma. And I'll never forget a Friday night game. I'm not going to show you this clip, but there was a Friday night game against West Virginia against Will Greer. Antonio Brown was there to see Hollywood Brown. I think they're cousins.
Yep.
and he's on the sidelines, and it came down to a 4th and 5 at the 40 late in the game, which Oklahoma finally won 59-56.
Right.
And Kyler hit CeeDee Lamb, and it just took my breath away because it was a deadly accurate clutch bullet to save the game and the night. So my point was, I just knew he was such a special little man because when he walks on the football field, he carries himself with this supreme athletic arrogance.
Like he's 6'4".
He does. He's got his shoulders back and his chest out because he's been doing this for a long time. All he did was win every high school game he played at the highest level of Texas football.
Right.
All he did was just keep winning every state championship, right? And then he goes to Oklahoma, and they got to the national semifinal against your Bama team.
Well, he went to A&M first, remember?
Right, I know, but I'm saying, I still don't know what happened to that. That was a weird deal. But he winds up at Oklahoma behind Baker for a year, and then he gets his shot, and he goes up against Saban's defense in the Orange Bowl, which was the national semifinal. And remember, he throws for 308 in that game and ran for 109. So that's 417 combined yards. I said, that kid can play.
Yeah, we let him do that, though. But we already had him with 28-0.
Okay, I got you. But he made it a game.
It wasn't okay.
Okay, and all he did was make all Big 12 as a center fielder, which is why Billy Beane, the great Billy Beane, said, I want that kid, and was willing to take him 8th overall in the MLB draft. This is special talent that we have never seen before. So do you think he'll ever be ranked as a top 5 quarterback? Probably not, just because of his height.
Yeah,
but maybe. Okay, but what's happening in pro football, just for the record, is he's only 10th in quarterback rush yards this year because he escapes to throw the football.
Yes.
It's right, left, and he drives people crazy because the defensive lineman can't get a hold of it.
And he's realized it's better to throw the ball than run it because he said those legs hurt.
Well, they do. Okay? So he's 17 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. But what I love the most, he is leading the league at 74% completions.
Yeah.
He's deadly accurate.
Yep.
He can throw it.
He can.
And now that he's got some talent around him defensively, you got a world beater.
But they've done a great job surrounding him with talent offensively also, Skip. To bring in A.J. Green to help take some pressure with Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore. Now they trade for Zach Ertz. They can run the football because before they couldn't run the football. Now they can run the football. He can dump it down to the backs. He can always count on D-Hop being open. Yeah, they've done a great job. Yes, Skip, he's an MVP. That's his ceiling. MVP Super Bowl. That's the ceiling.
See TV tonight.
Yeah, must see TV when you put something on your Cowboys. Yeah, you'll see
we're not there
the little feet that you be.
All right, and it's going to be a great one tonight. I know we're all going to be watching. Coverage starts 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
No mercy.
Kevin Durant and the Nets fell to 2-3 as they lost to the Heat 106-93. KD had 25 points, but his running mate James Harden struggled with only 14 points. And after the game, Durant addressed the elephant in the room. Take a listen.
I know what you want me to say. Yeah, we do miss Kyrie. We do. He's a part of our team, but for the most part, I mean, like I said, we've been generating great shots. We've been, getting into the paint. It's just a matter of us knocking them down. I think it'll come.
Okay, Shannon, how much do they miss Kyrie?
He's an unbelievable talent. The guy's a 50-40-90 guy. Shoot 50% from the floor, 40% from the three, 90 from the free throw line. He can create out the dribble. He's great three-point, mid-range, can get to the paint, finish with either hand with the best of him. You foul him, he's going to make 90% of those shots. He can also generate offense. He can make life easier for KD and James Harden. Of course they miss him. He's a top player in the league.
How much did they miss him against the Bucks last year?
Yeah, they won if they'd had him against the Bucks.
But they should have won anyway.
No, they should not have.
A toenail was on the line.
This is not about him. This is about Kyrie.
Okay.
But anyway, look, plus the fact that, Skip, they're still trying to figure it out. But I think the biggest thing is that James Harden has 100, coming into this season, James Harden had 116 games in which he shot at least 15 free throws. He hadn't shot more than 5 in any game this year. That's the difference. Maybe they're going to the Olympic rules, Skip. The ticky-tack stuff that we see guys jumping into each other and getting the little ticky-tack stuff. They're like, nah.
New rules, new interpretation of said rules.
Exactly,
right?
Skip. They're like, nah, play on, bro. And James Harden is going to the line 1 time, 3 times, 4 times. And I think And once he sees the ball go in from the free throw line, now all of a sudden the rim looks bigger to him as he takes those step back threes, as he's driving to the lane. But he's struggling right now, Skip. And I think because Kevin Durant has been great. Kevin Durant is KD. He's very efficient. I don't need to say anything about KD, but James Harden right now is not playing up to what James Harden that we saw last year before the injury. And obviously he totally changed the way he played from Houston. But the James Harden that we saw for a stretch that was in the MVP conversation, he hasn't been close to that. But they're an old team. Because, you know, you talk about the Lakers, but LaMarcus Aldridge, 36. Blake Griffin is an old 32. Paul Millsap, 36. Patty Mills, 33. KD, 33. And Harden, 32. So you tried to make it seem like only the Lakers. Everybody tried to make it seem only the Lakers. But y'all, it's not like y'all young. Like y'all got a bunch of 25-year-olds
How
out
old
there.
is Cam Thomas? Help me out. The MVP of the Summer League. Oh, he's a rookie.
Man, don't nobody come out no Summer League.
19 years old.
Man, that's like playing at the Y.
Shot the lights out in the
How many of them
Summer
guys in the league that played in the Summer League?
Okay, back to the question at hand. Why is James Harden not James Harden so far? Because unlike LeBron James, he came back completely out of shape. It's hard for me to watch him. I watched this whole game.
Why out of shape?
He says because his hamstring lingered, he claims, through the entire offseason. He said for 2 months he fought with it. It was a grade 2 pull that he had that reared its head 3 different times last year. So he was advised to do nothing in the offseason, which I find hard to believe.
What they say about eating if you're doing nothing?
I don't know, because he just looks fleshy and doughy to me. He's got no definition. Well, that's what he looks like to me, and he's always got just a little bit of a paunch going on. And last year, it did not matter because he was in game shape. They're having to ask him to play his way into game shape, and for a little burst last night, for a 2-minute burst, I saw the old MVP like James Harden.
Oh, you saw that,
If we could see this, he scored 11 in 2 minutes in the second quarter and gave them the halftime lead. There he goes. He finally got one to fall. Then here he goes again, up and under. Oh, that'll work. Well, he actually blew by somebody and got in the lane. And then here's another 3, and it's a 4 because he finally got fouled and made the free throw. And so here he goes, and we got one more time around. We got more free throws, and he's just going to make his free throws. He piled up 11 points in 2 minutes. Well, there are very few mortals who can do that, but that guy can. And guess what happened the rest of the way? Nothing happened. He wound up with 14 total points because he runs out of gas. So all of a sudden, KD's up against his nemesis, PJ Tucker, who was obviously with the Bucks last year, now here with the Heat. And they're triple teaming him. And KD made a 3 last night. If we can see the late 3 made, this is like vintage. We just said, okay, I'm just going to do this. And this made it a 3-point game. He just said, I'm sorry, I just got this. Well, you can't stop that, right? So that cut it to 3, and then all of a sudden I look up and it's gone completely out of control, 106-93, because guess what the rebounds were last night? 62 for the Heat to 42 for the home team. 62-42?
That's how you got to punish him, Skip.
But Nick Claxton, who's their quote-unquote big man, he's a little light in the pocket, as you know, but he was ill last night. I think he had the flu or something, but he couldn't play. And they got pounded, and KD had his 11 on the board, so that works, and the rest of them got none. But
guess what? But he had 17 offensive rebounds. And then you got Bam cleaning up the glass. You got Jimmy Butler. You got Dedmon.
Dedmon came off the bench and just terrorized him.
He was good for him late last year, Skip. So, look, Miami's going to be there when it's all said and done. But the thing is, you got to be careful with playing James these minutes if he's not in shape, because he'll tweak that hamstring again. You know what happens when you're not in shape, Skip, and you play this many minutes.
Well, he played 36 minutes last night, but I know what Steve Nash is trying to do. Just play your way into some kind of conditioning, right?
Yeah.
He does not look even remotely himself at this point.
Well, I hope he gets there soon. But nobody's really looked good except the Warriors, Skip. The Bucks got beat by Minnesota last night.
That's okay.
They got embarrassed by Minnesota.
Yes.
Yep.
Come on.
Oh, my bad, Jim.
I mean, I'm happy about it. Anything could happen this season. No mercy. The Eagles are only 2-5 in Nick Sirianni's first year as head coach, and he had a strange metaphor about how his team is developing. Take a listen for yourself.
the results aren't there right now. But what's going on here is that there's growth under the soil. I put a picture of a flower up, right, and that it's coming through the ground, and the roots are growing out, and the roots are continuing to grow out. And the only way the roots grow out every single day, and they grow stronger and they grow better, is if that we all water.
That is true. Shannon, what is your reaction
First
when
of all,
you
you
first
don't water a
saw
plant
this?
every day. You don't water a plant every day. But I already knew you was going to be some bull jive, because when you showed up with that press conference with an Eagle sweatsuit on, and you talked about you played rock, paper, scissors to judge an NFL player's competitive spirit, I already knew where it was headed. And you've done nothing to let me know that it's not going to continue to head in this direction. But it serves Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. Howie Roseman, the general manager, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner. It serves them right. They deserve each other, and they deserve him as a head coach.
How did he get this job in the first place?
You know, how a lot of America get jobs.
Okay, well,
my homeboy, I know somebody that knows somebody.
There you go. Well, he wasn't really even the coordinator in Indy, because the coordinator is the head coach who also calls all the plays.
Correct.
So what had he done to merit this job? I don't know. It's just who you know.
Yeah.
Because Frank Reich obviously gave him a glowing endorsement to people who believe in Frank Reich.
Right.
Well, half the time in my career, I've met some of these assistant coaches, and I think, I know more football than that guy does, but they get jobs.
Of course.
You've worked with these people.
Of course, Skip. You get a job because, you look like the person that's hiring. And you talk like the person that's hiring. And you know somebody that knows the person that's hiring. That's kind of how America works, because football sports are a microcosm of society. A lot of the jobs don't get listed. Now, this job got listed, but we know who was going to get the job, Skip. Come on. We know good and well. Ain't no way a brother going to be able to show up with a sweatsuit on and give an interview talking about, I play rock, paper, scissors, and get the job. He better be suited. He better be dressed like I am today. Or you show up with a sweatsuit, an Eagle sweat. Let you know he wasn't even thinking about getting the job, Skip. He just showed up. He didn't even have a shirt and tie to put on. Forget it was going to be Eagles color green tie. He didn't even have a suit jacket to let you know that he was.
I actually feel sorry for the Eagles. That's a first for me.
I don't. They deserve it. After the way they did Dougie P, after the way Dougie P deserved better. Man won a Super. That make it seem like they would just win all the time, and they could just get off Dougie P. It's like, oh yeah, we good.
Well,
Okay.
he did say you have to fertilize the flower, and they've been creating a lot of fertilizer.
With some bull spinners. That's the fertilizer. You talk about the water.
Today, Undisputed back same time tomorrow.
Is that you know what y'all been putting out the ground?
Have a good day, everyone.
All right, Undisputed.